Believe it or not, moms, I did not like to play on the ground with my kids. I was like her. It was very boring. Mm-hmm. And I just, after about 10 minutes of tea party or trains or Legos or whatever, I was just sort of tired of it. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get up and go do my stuff, especially if you have a 9-month-old that's crawling all over you and in your face and pulling on things. It's just like, look, this is no fun. So it doesn't mean you're a bad mom. So stop telling yourself that. Hey everybody, welcome to Wire Talk. Today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic about conflicting priorities. In a mom's world, this happens all the time. You know, little things like, do I get up early and work out, or do I just sleep in a little bit because it was a rough night last night with the kids? Or bigger decisions like, do I advance my career, or do I have that extra baby that we were talking about and put my career on hold a little bit longer? So these kind of things are hard to decide, and it's not always a right or a wrong choice. So I'm hoping that today, in today's episode, you'll get some insight and wisdom to help guide you through these hard choices in life.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you so much for choosing to listen to Wire Talk today. We are always so thankful for our wonderful listeners out there. So thank you from wherever you are listening to Wire Talk. I can't believe we're in the 400s of Wire Talk already.
Isn't that insane?
It is insane.
I know. And we really started our podcast back when not that many people.
You were a pioneer, Mom.
Well,
you were a pioneer.
One of them. So sort of fun.
It is fun. If you guys don't know this voice, I'm Emily. I'm your host for the podcast.
She's my lovely daughter.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm the green, yellow, quirky, spunky. I'm always dancing and singing and doing my thing, you know.
Yes, always. And we love that. We love Emily. She's a little spark in our family.
You love it except for at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah. Oh, y'all. This was so funny. We went, I had a speaking engagement
south of Atlanta
a few weeks ago, and we decided just to get up and battle Atlanta traffic that morning. So we had to get up super early and go down. There was no traffic, which is nice. So we ate breakfast. So we're at the restaurant, and they had this.
It was a diner. So they had like Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston.
They had like music of the 80s playing.
Music playing.
And Emily was like, I love this music. This is so great. And I'm like, yeah, it's good. I'm just waking up. Like they had just poured the coffee. I'm just like, yeah, it's good music, you know? And Emily's like sitting there and Whitney Houston's song was on. I want to dance with somebody.
Oh man, it struck a nerve in a good way.
So Emily starts singing, I want to dance with somebody. And I'm like, okay, you know, whatever. It's 7 a.m., but it's fine. And I look over and she is just like going to town. Don't you want to dance? Say you want to dance. Don't you want to dance? And she's just like bobbing up and down. And I just looked at her and I went, Emily. And she went, what? And I'm like, settle down.
I was like, oh, okay.
So and she's just like, I'm sorry. I just love this song. Emily just wakes up on alert and go.
I need like 5 minutes. But then other than that, I'm ready to go.
Most people need like 30, 40 minutes.
I know.
Emily's like,
yeah. And ready to go. And the reason why I thought about that is like this episode's called Conflicting Priorities. And like my priority that morning was to sing and your priority was to drink your coffee in peace.
Yes.
And so I just don't know why I felt like I needed to share that with them.
I was just looking forward to a good breakfast and sort of wake up and then I'll be ready to go speak to the moms.
I was ready to go, guys.
She was ready to go. Ready to go.
But anyways, I thought it was funny.
That is funny. That is funny. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. Because
sharing means caring.
Grayson will say, he goes, show me caring. And I'm like, it's so cute.
Stop.
It's
Grayson
so cute.
is adorable. Everybody loves Grayson.
He is. He's sweet. He's my sweet boy.
I know. And if y'all haven't watched, if y'all normally listen to Wire Talk and you don't look at the YouTube channel, go over to the YouTube channel. What episode was that?
I don't know what episode it was, but it was
in February.
Maybe 402.
Yeah.
It was something about teen faith.
But my grandkids, we were wrapping up and they were coming in. So I said, y'all come on in. And it was adorable. Y'all need to go to the YouTube channel. Just look up that one in particular and watch the ending of it.
It's like the last minute. It's like 17 minutes.
Yeah, it was cute.
So
they were all like,
they were cute.
Shy at first, and they all found the camera and they're like, hello. And Harper's like looking right at it.
Really liked the camera.
Yeah.
But we're not going to say anything else because you have to go look it up.
Yeah. They're cute.
So, well, today we are talking about choosing between conflicting priorities.
Yes.
So before we jump into all these questions, has there ever been a time where you felt like you can think about, there's a time where I can feel like this was path A, this was path B, what do I do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, just the work question, full-time work, part-time work, that kind of thing, that was always conflicting. I think about your dad because, he was an airline pilot, and the way airline pilots are paid, they're paid by the seat that they fly in.
So just so people who don't know what that means, that's not like, what does that mean?
That means like first officer or captain.
Yeah.
And the how big the airplane is.
Mm-hmm.
So a wider body gets more pay than a narrow body plane.
Because the wider body can hold more packages. And
well,
they go
it's just
further.
harder to fly, I guess. I don't know. It's just the way they have it set up. So anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is your dad always chose to sit in a seat longer, and also seniority is a big deal in the airline world. Sit in his seat longer, like a first officer seat longer, rather than moving up to a captain, because he could handle his schedule better. And that would mean that he could be off for the holidays and all of that. And that was more important. Yeah, that was more important to him than the money.
Oh, thanks,
and
Dad.
I know. Y'all never knew that. And, he would fuss about the money because we didn't have enough money and all that, all the things. But I used to say, remember, we chose to do this so you could be home with the kids and you could take the Atlanta line and you could be around more often. And he's like, that's right. And he would always have to, you're right. That's exactly why I'm doing this and it's worth it. And I'm like, yeah. So he sat in the first officer seat for a long time. He didn't move up to the wide body for a long time. He didn't move to captain for a long time because his seniority was more important than the money.
Oh, well, Dad, I know you listen, so thank you. That was very sweet.
It was. And I think it paid off in spades, especially while y'all were in high school and all that. He was around a lot. And airline pilots, they travel.
He was. And when Dad was home, he was very present.
Very present.
So I always think Dad says, because he'll drive back from Memphis and be like, I'll listen to y'all's podcast. And I just think that's so sweet.
I think it's sweet too. He does. He listens to, but he'll correct me on things. And I'm like, well, Greg, it's already been recorded. It's already out there and I'm not going back to change it. And he goes, well, did you even notice that you didn't do that? The right thing. And I'm like, nope. And we're good. And it's little things. I mean, it's teeny. It's just like, babe, I just love that you're so blue, but no. Doesn't matter.
Sweet that he supports you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. All right. Well, Mom, we got some good questions today.
Let's get to it.
So I'm excited to see what they all are and see how you answer them. It's going to be good.
Let's do it.
All right. Question 1. I work full time. We have 4 kids, 7-year-old girl, twin 5-year-old girls, and a little boy who is 2.5. My husband travels for work at least 2 to 3 nights a week. And sometimes weekends. My mom helps, but most of the daily grind is on me, especially the keeping up with the house, laundry, lunches, dinners, and the dreading getting out of the door in the morning for school. I was hoping you could help me with tips and tricks, but mostly just helping with my mindset. When my husband gets home, I expect him to be happy and 100% available for me and the kids. But obviously, he's a man, and that's not quite the case. We have a good relationship, but most everything falls on me. And I think that's what I need most is a mindset shift. I'd be very careful with the way I said that. Thanks for all your advice and encouragement. How on earth did you do this mostly alone? And with getting the kids to activities after school, thank you. You rock.
Oh, she's so sweet. Well, you rock too, Mom. I love this. All right. First off, I only worked part-time. We always have to keep that in mind, Mom, because that's a big difference. Part-time and full-time makes a big difference. But the mindset piece that she's talking about here, I absolutely had to change my mindset because my mindset was always, I'm working harder than Greg. I mean, Greg is flying to these amazing cities. He's staying in these nice hotels. He's having, going out and eating nice restaurants and all that. So my work is so much harder. And God just really convicted me, like, why do you have to be your work have to be harder than Greg. He's working too, and he is flying through the night, and it's harder on his body, and he does need to sleep and all the things. Y'all can both be working hard.
Yeah.
And so I had to really start giving Greg grace and realizing you do work really hard, and you do live out of your suitcase half of the month, every month. And that is a hard thing to do. And the traveling and adjusting your body to the jet lag and all that. So I definitely changed my mindset that Greg is working just as hard as me. It's not a competition. We are in this together. So I would try to, when he came in the door, not just automatically throw the kids at him and be like, here, they're yours. But allow him to come in, allow him to get acclimated. Sometimes he came in and went straight to bed. Like he'd come in at 5 a.m. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Asleep, sleeping. And then whenever y'all got home from school, he would have been up and ready to engage. But I would keep y'all away from him and just be like, no, Dad's sleeping. We're going to leave him alone kind of thing. So I just had to start sort of help supporting Greg. And sometimes I can understand what she's saying. It's hard because we're like, no, we've been holding down the fort. You need to get with the program and jump in. So that's that. The other thing is I found instead of just asking your husband for help, ask for specific things.
Okay.
I need you to help with X, Y, or Z. Bath time or discipline or homework or whatever it is. But just don't say, I need your help, because they really don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They just stand there and look at you like, huh?
What?
It's like when you ask them to go get something out of the pantry and they can't find it. And you're like, oh my gosh, you just moved the box of cereal and it's right there.
But it's not there.
But it's not there. And they say it's not there. And you're like, it's there. So,
Well, for this mom and so many other moms who are listening who are trying to do it all, which I know all moms want to, that's a real conflict.
Oh, of course.
Beyond just adjusting your mindset, what's some practical advice you can give to this mom and other moms who can resonate with this question?
Yeah. Okay. Let's just start with our husbands. Ask specifically what you want from them on how to help, number one. Number two, during the weekends, I'd save all your chores and housework and all that for the weekends as much as you can, as best as you can. I would try to meal prep on the weekends to help you during the week. And I would just also put backpacks and all that. She said getting out the door was hard. I'd do all that the night before. And I would get to a place to where when your husband does come in and you give him specific things like, hey, let's divide and conquer. You give the kids their baths, get them ready for bed, tuck them in bed. I'm going to be cleaning the kitchen and all that. And at 8 o'clock, we're going to stop. Everybody's going to be in bed. Everything's going to be done. And we're going to just sit and relax and enjoy each other. And that you have to stay to that. Even if you don't get to all the laundry or all the whatever, you can fluff and let it run a rinse cycle the next morning.
Come on.
Trust me, I've done it many times.
I think every person on the planet has fluffed their laundry more than once.
Oh, yes.
Because it's the best thing. Yes. Oh, they're not quite dry yet. Let's just fluff them.
I know, right?
Or there's a little wrinkly. Yeah.
I'm not ready to fold all that.
I'm not ready. Let's go again.
Does that help? Is that good enough?
I think that's great.
Crock pots are wonderful. Get easy recipes that are just dump and go. You can, like, whenever I used to, Kelsey would have her babies and I'd fly out to see her. I'd make her up a bunch of meals. We'd put them in the freezer, like a chicken pot pie, flank steak, those kinds of things. You can just pull that out in the morning before you go to work. Then whenever you get home, you put the pot pie in the thing, put a pie crust on it, pop it in the oven. That's done. Like, you don't have to cook.
All right. Well, I would like a chicken pot pie, a lasagna, and chicken tortilla soup for next week. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. No.
Oh, my gosh. That's so nice. Thank you, Mom. Mom's like, no, I don't cook anymore.
I do for very special occasions.
You do. Also, something that you told me sometimes
this is bugging me. Let's move this up.
All right, let's move it up. Is if I'm like really tired, you tell me like put a timer on your phone for 10 minutes.
Yes.
And then that really helps me because I'm a green and I don't like doing anything. And if there's so much, I get overwhelmed. Yeah. So you say start with the kitchen, get your island clean, give yourself 10 minutes. And I was like, okay. And if I do that, then it does help,
Another thing that helps is have like, especially with, she's got littles, the 2.5-year-old and the twins, 5-year-old twins, but have baskets around the house. And sometimes if you can just put all the junk in the baskets, your house may not be clean, but it's not cluttered.
Yes.
And that is a game changer.
Yes.
So and you can tell the kids, put all your toys in the basket.
And then on Sunday, when you're not trying to get out the door,
and you put away or whatever. I used to also have a basket on the steps.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I would put things that needed to go upstairs in the basket. And then whenever I went, at some point, I would take the basket with me. Sometimes I looked at the basket and kept walking up the stairs because I was like, I don't want to deal with this. But other times I'm like, all right, pick up the basket, Karen. Let's go upstairs.
You can do it.
And put all these things away. It's just little tricks like that help, in the long. But she's right. Mindset's the key.
And I love that she can recognize that too.
Oh, yeah.
That's a huge step in all of that too.
She's asking for help, which is also really good.
Way to go, Mama.
Yes, she rocks.
Rock it.
Truly.
All right.
Hey there, moms and friends of teenage girls. I'm so excited to share that our very own Karen Stubbs has a brand new book out called Moments with God for Teen Girls. You know that as mom to 3 grown daughters, Karen has a wealth of wisdom when it comes to the struggles and the inner life of teenage girls. This devotional is designed to help our girls grow closer to God and look to His Word for answers to their questions. Each of the 100 devotions is crafted with care, featuring a prayer, scripture, reflection questions, and even journaling pages to guide your daughter's devotional time. If you're looking to encourage your daughter in her faith this year, or if you need a meaningful gift for the teenage girl in your life, head over to boaw.mom/teengirls. That's boaw.mom/teen girls. Let's encourage the next generation to find truth and peace by spending time seeking God. All right, let's get back to the conversation.
Moving on. Question 2. Good morning. I love that she said good morning.
I know.
How sweet. Okay. Good morning. I'm trying to figure out how to be a more playful mother to my 2.5-year-old daughter. She has so many toys and will play independently well, but when it comes time for her wanting a playmate, I feel stuck because that falls on me. I find it boring to pretend, but she loves it so much. Sometimes I'll look over after being on the floor for a while with her and I'll tell her I'm going to get up to start lunch and she gives me a huge pouty face. I feel so guilty. Plus, it just really isn't fun for me. P.S. I also have a 9-month-old son who pretty much is all over me when I sit on the floor. So it's a balancing act between playing with her and also entertaining him. Any tips are greatly appreciated. I just don't want to dread it or feel irritated during our playtime.
I love that.
I think you can relate to this, sweet mom.
I can totally relate. Believe it or not, moms, I did not like to play on the ground with my kids. I was like her. It was very boring. And I just, after about 10 minutes of tea party or trains or Legos or whatever, I was just sort of tired of it. And I wanted to get up and go do my stuff, especially if you have a 9-month-old that's crawling all over you and in your face and pulling on things. It's just like, this is no fun. So it doesn't mean you're a bad mom. So stop telling yourself that, okay? Your daughter is having the pouty face because she's just trying to get what she wants. And that's okay. That just means she's normal and she's human. So here's what I would do. I think 5 minutes, honestly, 5 minutes of undivided time, no phone, no whatever, that can go a long way.
Yeah.
We were at breakfast the other morning and Harper wanted to play patty cake. She's 5 years old. But I just sat there and we played patty cake for a little bit and it just really filled up Harper's love cup.
It did.
And then that was it. I mean, we didn't have to keep going. Or Harper will say, Mimi, will you color with me? And I'm like, sure. And I'll start the coloring but you can do a coloring page and then be like, okay, I got to go do some laundry or I got to go start lunch like this mom is saying. And that can go a long way. It's good for your child to play independently for sure. And the good news is the 9-month-old is getting ready to be 1, maybe already is 1 by now. And so then they can start playing together. But don't feel bad if you don't get on the floor with them.
Yeah. And sometimes I can be like, I get distracted playing on the floor with my kids. And so I'll put on music and that kind of helps me stay engaged with the kids because I don't have my phone on me. And I think that's a big thing.
That's a good tip.
It's just I put like Kids Pop on or like a good radio station that they can sing to that I like too. And that helps me stay engaged with my kids too.
That's good.
So,
but you don't have to be on the floor for hours on end to be a good mom.
Yeah.
You really don't.
So I guess.
And this is the way I looked at it. Greg can get on the floor and play for hours with the kids.
Yes, he can.
And he has a great imagination, and he just rocks it. That's not me. You got to be true to who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I may not do that well, but I do a lot of other things really well. And I'm sure this mom does too.
Yes. So would that be your practical tip?
That's my practical tip. Be true to who you are.
So I also am going to say something because you said something about dad and you're like, that's not who I am. But, which you're correct. If we're upstairs in the playroom at your house, you're not on your phone scrolling.
Right.
And I think that's a big deal. Like you're listening to Harper, you're talking to her if she's up there or Grayson or any of the grandkids. And I think that can be a big factor. It's like, because sometimes Harper will be like, put your phone away. I'm like, oh, that's a dagger to the heart. Okay, yeah I got to do that. So sometimes I feel like if you're doing something,
be all in.
Be all in, and like if you're not playing with them because you're working on dinner, like, and they see that, Harper never really asked me to play if I'm working on dinner. She asked me to play if I'm sitting on the couch or scrolling on my phone or watching a show or something. You know what I mean? So I just think it's how you're using your time too.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Yeah. So, anyways, sorry. Okay, moving on.
You don't have to apologize.
I don't have to apologize. I'm a good mom. Okay. Gosh.
She's like, sorry.
I do say sorry a lot. All right. Be true to who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Question 3. I just found out that I'm pregnant following a very early miscarriage. I have a 6-year-old son who I adore. I also was recently promoted to a very high-stress job. I'm also 37 and find myself full of doubts. I have a supportive husband, but find myself so overwhelmed. I don't feel joy or excitement. I feel sick constantly and beyond exhausted and borderline depressed. I just don't feel any joy right now, and it's making me guilty and worried. I feel so much older. Am I going to be this old lady to my kids? Can I do this? So I appreciate your heart for moms, hoping you might have an encouraging word for me.
Oh, have a lot of encouraging words for this mom. First off, congratulations. And listen, I know sometimes whenever you find out you're pregnant, it doesn't always come at the most opportune times. Like you're not expecting it. And it was like, oh, this is a shock. We just lost a baby and I haven't really fully dealt with that. So plus she just got a job promotion. So it's that this whole conflicting priorities things comes in. But let's just start from the beginning. Are you going to be an old mom to your children? No. Age is in the mindset. I mean, yeah, you may be 37 and having a newborn, but that's okay. You're not going to be old to your kids, and your kids are going to love you regardless because you're their mom. Mm-hmm. Second thing, first trimester is going to be over before you know it, and nobody feels good whenever they're sick and they're nauseous all the time. Ugh, that's not a great thing. And then the other thing is, can you do it? Absolutely you can do it, because you know why? God is with you, and He's going to give you what you need, when you need it, and how you need it. You just need to lean into Him, and you just need to trust Him and ask Him, say, God, give me what I need. I'm a little nervous about this. I'm older. This is not what I was expecting, but just know this was in God's plan for your life. So He's not going to take you to this point and then just abandon you. He doesn't work that way. He's there for you. And so lean into Him.
That was really good. Thanks. So what's something that was an action step you can encourage this mom to take this week to find some peace and help her restore some joy in her life?
Yeah, just lean into the Lord and ask Him to give you what you need when you get overwhelmed. It's okay that you're overwhelmed. Everybody gets overwhelmed. But it's what you do whenever you're overwhelmed that makes the difference. And if you lean into the Lord, He will give you what you need.
All right. Question 4. I'm a yellow mom. I love that. I work part-time, 30 hours per week. I try to balance getting the house and food in order, all the doctor's appointments, and fun activities for my girls, 2.5-year-olds and 8-month on my days off. My husband, my mom, she's a very big part of my life, my boss, my office manager are all blue in all caps. I try to appease them all, but the lack of approval and harsh critiques is getting me down. Sometimes I just feel the need to binge watch TV after a long shift, trip, or even a night with the baby, and organizing and cleaning, doing everything to their standards is out of my reach with energy I have. My husband is extremely helpful with the kids, and my house but is frustrated if I relax because he's running on empty all the time. He does work long hours and frequently travels for work. His statements make me feel like I'm never doing enough. I have tried to hire a lawn mowing service to take some pressure off, but he fired them for not doing it right. Luckily, the cleaning service is up to snuff. I've asked my husband to listen to the Yellow Moms and Blue Dads episodes, but he hasn't. What advice do you have to help fill my cup when I feel like I can't do anything right?
I totally get this, sweet mom. Okay, here's the deal. You got all these blues in your life. I would focus on your husband. Don't worry about your mom, your coworkers, your boss, all that. You're probably not going to be able to change them or have much influence there. So I would hone in on your husband. And I would just let him know, hey, if you're not willing to listen to the podcast, which I think would be very helpful for you because Greg is a blue and I think you can relate to him and he's a hard worker and all the things. And Karen is a yellow. But if you don't want to listen to that, let me give you the tips that I've pulled away from it. And this is what Karen said she did that's helped them stay married for 38 years. Have we been married 30? Well, it's going to be 38 years this year. But anyways, so I'm like, how long have we been married? But my point is, I've told Greg in the past, because he's the same way, he works, and it'll be 9 o'clock at night. And he's like, let's go start blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I'm tired. And I just tell him, Greg, I'm so glad that you have the energy of an Energizer bunny. I do not. And we are different. And I don't want to do that. I want to sit here. I want to watch my show. I want to veg out and I want to relax. So if you want to go do whatever it is, this little project around the house, go for it. I'm not going to be joining you. And mom, sweet yellow mom, you've got to develop some thick skin. Just because you're not doing it to their standards doesn't mean you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
And here's the thing I've had to tell Greg over the years. There are 2 ways to do something, and I'm doing the best I can. And until I get extra help or extra energy or whatever, this is the best I can do. And you just have to be confident in that in you and not worry about what all these other people think. And I know that sounds sort of simple, but it's really hard to do. So I would just pray and ask God to open up your husband's heart to being more inquisitive, to figure out the yellows. And I would at least share with him the 4 A's that the yellows need: the attention, approval, affection, and acceptance. And I would just be like, I need these things from you. And whenever you're so critical, I don't feel like you approve of what I'm doing. And I don't feel like you're accepting me for who I am. I accept you. And I work towards you in your blueness and try to keep things up to snuff. So I need you to bend towards me. But I would just pray and ask God that he would soften his heart towards that concept. But blues have a hard time just in general you're married to a blue too.
I am.
Just accepting that is your best kind of thing. You can always do more or whatever. And, sometimes we just say, nope, that's all I got for you today.
That's all I got for today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what's one practical tip you can encourage this mom with this week?
Yeah. Just remember that you're doing a lot of things right. I mean, the fact that you have a full-time job and you're doing all the things and you're keeping a positive attitude with all those blues. Listen, your family needs a little sunshine of ray of yellow, and that's you. So thank God that they have you in their life, and you're doing a really good job, Mom.
Well, Mom, that's all of our questions today, but we did talk about a lot of different things in this episode. We talked about blues and yellows and different color temperaments. So just so you know, if we did talk about an episode in previous episode, in this podcast episode, you can check the show notes and Katie will link that to it. So that's helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for listening in this week. That's all we have, but thank you always for giving us your questions so we can have our episodes, because we can't do this without you guys. And if this Wire Talk has meant anything to you, don't be afraid to share it to other people, because sharing Birds on a Wire helps us grow. And we want Birds on a Wire to be a household name in motherhood, and just people talking in the grocery store. Hey, did you see the Wire Talk this week? Hey, did you hear what Karen said this week? Because motherhood is a hard journey, but it's not meant to do it alone. And we are here to walk beside you and alongside you in this wonderful journey called motherhood. So we will see you guys next Tuesday, and thank you so much. Have a great week.